What's up, guys? What's up, guys? Welcome back to What I've Been Watching. Today on the show, we're getting into You're the Worst. But before we do, how's the new set looking? Not bad. Not bad if I do say so myself. Alrighty, so yeah, You're the Worst. This was a series recommended to me by Filmmaking, another great recommendation from Phil. I had not heard of this series before. Definitely flew under the radar. It was on the FX network in the US, and you can stream it on Disney Plus in Oz. It ran for 5 seasons between 2014 to 2019, and it follows two self-centered individuals, Jimmy and Gretchen, meet at a wedding and decide to have a relationship. They soon begin to experience problems when their respective egos clash. So Jimmy is a British writer working on his next novel, and Gretchen is a publicist for a music label, and she's managing throughout the series, she manages a rap group. It's set in LA, so it's the perfect setting for egos and toxicity. But yeah, it's a little series. Definitely flew under the radar. It's almost, the best show you've never seen kind of thing. It's like a romantic comedy drama, dramedy, if you want to call it that. The series has some really good characters. Of course, we've got Gretchen and Jimmy, Jimmy's roommate Edgar, Gretchen's best friend Lindsay. The show more or less follows those 4 characters. Obviously, Jimmy and Gretchen are the 2 main, and then Edgar and Lindsay support those 2. And then there's also a lot of great supporting characters beyond that. We've got Lindsay's sister Becca and her husband Vernon. Vernon's probably one of my favorite characters in the series. I think he's pretty funny and entertaining. And then Lindsay's husband Paul. He's very entertaining as well. He's a good character. So that brings me into the first thing that I really enjoyed about the show, or that stood out for me, was the casting of the series. I think You're the Worst was cast really well. I think each actor plays their role really well. They're all great fits for their character, all the way down the ladder pretty much. So that was something that stood out for me, was how good each actor fit into their role. They each played their character really well. Felt very natural, and yeah, that was something that really stood out to me. So then with great casting comes great characters. Each character has a really great arc throughout the series, from Gretchen, Jimmy, Edgar, Lindsay, Becca, Vernon to Paul. Each character has a really great arc from start to finish. All the characters and their dynamic work really well. Sure, some of them can be quite eccentric, but it's like a heightened reality for TV in a sense. But then at the same time, it is also very grounded and down to earth for, LA personalities. So, but that was one of the things that stood out for me, was how each season progresses and how well each season progresses. Being just a relationship series, or a relationship comedy, romantic comedy, dramedy, whatever you want to call it. Each season progresses really well, and it keeps you engaged and entertained throughout the 5 seasons. Semi-spoiler alert, whether Jimmy and Gretchen stay together, whether they're together or not. And then, the people that enter their lives throughout the series that test their relationship is really good. The series is definitely not over the top, even though it's, set in a eccentric, over the top place, which kind of hints at that the writing is really well. The show was created and written by Stephen Falk, who is a seasoned TV writer. So the writing is very grounded and down to earth, and all the character arcs and relationships are well written, played out really well, and they all progress pretty naturally throughout the seasons. So for 5 seasons, a relationship comedy, it keeps you engaged, it keeps you entertained. It is a lot of fun seeing what these guys get up to, whether it's Sunday Fun Day, the road trip between Vernon and Paul. There's a lot of good adventures throughout the series, and then you got, you know, the overlying theme of the relationship between Jimmy and Gretchen, whether they're together, whether they're fighting, is really good. A great underlying theme throughout the series would be that of friendship. For the most part, everyone or is a good friend to each other. Edgar is a great friend to Jimmy. He's always there for him. Jimmy to Edgar, that could be a bit iffy sometimes, but, you know, he does let Edgar live with him, and you'll learn why throughout the series. Lindsay is always there for Gretchen. Gretchen's more or less there for Lindsay for the most part when she's not thinking about herself. Same goes for Jimmy. And, you know, Vernon and Paul are always there for each other, the boys. Vernon's there for pretty much everyone. He's there to, you know, help out where he can. And even, you know, that's more siblings, but Becca and Lindsay more or less are there for each other, or they at least get along throughout the series. So that's a very present theme throughout the series, is that of friendship. And then I suppose what's relatable about the show is the sense of modern romance and those themes, and then the self-destructive and toxic elements that I think we all kind of have traits of. But, you know, in this series, it's definitely a heightened sense of that for the sake of television. But, you know, trying to make your way in a fast-paced world, and then also trying to be vulnerable and trust each other, as Jimmy and Gretchen are trying to trust each other and be vulnerable with one another, you know, letting their walls down, but also trying to keep afloat within their careers and lives. Because at the same time, basically all the characters in the series are what you would call an alcoholic. A lot of problems, they try to solve a lot of problems with alcohol, or just try and numb themselves with alcohol and substances. So there's those modern elements. So I suppose it holds a mirror up to ourselves about how self-destructive we can kind of be in that sense, and trying to mask problems with alcohol and things of that nature, instead of just trying to work on ourselves and be better people, essentially, and not as self-centered as some of these characters can be. So definitely has modern themes which are very engaging and relatable, in the sense of that we're all just trying to make our way in the world. And we all have trauma and things of that nature. There's also some solid cameos in the series. The comedian Doug Benson plays himself within the show, and also the musician Ben Folds plays himself in the series. So that's pretty cool. It's shot really nice, performed really well. Great, well written, great relationship between the actors and their characters. So I think overall it is a pretty solid series. Easy to get through, easy to watch. Definitely flew under the radar. I don't even know, like I said, never heard of it until now. Never saw ads for it or anything like that over the years. But it's probably one of the best shows you've probably never seen. And yeah, there's a lot of great moments. A lot of good drama, a lot of good comedy. But yeah, I would recommend checking it out if you got Disney. Pretty easy to get through. And yeah, it's a great little series. And it's just a shame that I couldn't watch it when new episodes were being released. But that's the blessing of streaming, is that you can watch it all whenever you want. So yeah, I guess that's all I can say about You're the Worst. Other than that, it's a great little show and would recommend. So yeah, that's probably about it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.